Beats.
What's going on, shoe gamers, and welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, I bring to you the Nike SB Dunk Low Powerpuff Girls. The Powerpuff Girls is an animated cartoon series created in 1998 by creator Craig McCracken. The cartoon series was centered behind three genetically modified girls that were made in a lab by Professor Utonium: Blossom, Buttercup, and Bubbles. Professor Utonium created them using three special ingredients:
sugar, spice, and everything nice.
But because of one of his lab assistants, Chemical X was spilled into the concoction, making them superheroes. Let's go to Professor Utonium to get a little bit of a closer look of how and why this happened. I don't know how you gained access to this laboratory, Shoe Game, but given that you've acquired all three Powerpuff Girls, I'll make an exception. See, I have an assistant. Well, had an assistant. His name was Mojo. You might know him these days as Mojo Jojo. Anyways, I was making this beautiful concoction in my laboratory when he bumped into me and made an error. I don't make errors. Chemical X was accidentally spilled into the concoction and created one of my most beautiful creations I've ever created in my whole creative life. Anyways, that's a story for another day. Back to you, Shoe Game. It seems like Chemical X was one of the best mistakes in cartoon history. Powerpuff Girls gained widespread popularity, spanning multiple decades and generations of children to come. So why wouldn't Nike come together to use that popularity to make one of their best Nike SB Dunks in the 2023 season? But this is not the first time that they've done this with a cartoon before. Think about the Nike SB Dunk High and Low, Beavis and Butthead, and Nike SB Dunk High Quagmire. And what about the Nike SB Dunk Simpsons series with Marge, Homer, and the most recently released, Bart Simpson? Of course, there's many characters within this cartoon series, but we're missing some big players. For example, what about Mojo Jojo, their #1 arch nemesis in this series? Now, there's been rumors about a shoe out there that's supposed to be coming out. Now, from what I've heard from the community, it's going to be only a friends and family release, meaning there's only going to be one, maybe two pairs out there, so don't expect it coming this December. With an anticipated release on December the 14th and a retail value of approximately $130, Nike came together to make not one, not two, but bringing all three Powerpuff Girls to life. Now let's talk about what we all came to see, what the shoe actually looks like. They're gonna come out with three colorways, one for each distinct superhero: Blossom, Buttercup, and Bubbles. From an overall perspective, there's a lot of similarities with it. They're each gonna have the same silhouette, they're all gonna have that black midsole, and they're all gonna have that 3M trim just underneath those base layers. They're all gonna have two different laces as well, with one of them being a black lace. When you turn the shoe onto the back, you're gonna see on the heels, they're also gonna have that stitching of the eyeball. But we'll take a closer look in a second to see which direction your hero's looking in. All of the shoes will have a clear outsole with the colorway of each superhero peering through that. Now, on each one of our colorways, the inside tongue tag of the left shoe is going to be similar. Now, of course, there's gonna be differences in the color of the tongue tag, but in this case, the appearance of the inner tag is going to be similar. If you take a closer look, you're going to see the Powerpuff Girls logo on the top with an X dividing the Nike SB logo, showing their collaborative efforts. First up, Blossom. Starting with the outer material of the shoe, the outer panels, the back heel, and the toe guards, I was having a little bit of difficulty trying to figure out what this material is. This feels like a smooth leather, almost like a nubuck. It's not soft, it's not a hairy suede, and that's important, and I'll give you some details about that later in the video, so stay tuned. The base layer of the shoe, the outer paneling, the toe box, the tongue, the inner lining, all have that same consistent color of pink riding throughout it. The midsole is obviously that beautiful black color, with the bottom of the shoe being an iced out color with that pink peering through the bottom of it. In the mid guard of the shoe, we have that beautiful orange color to mimic Blossom's hair. Using a nice smooth orange leather to represent her hair, we have the beautiful Nike check. Moving now to the laces of the shoe, we have Blossom's beautiful orange color to match the Nike swoosh with a nice thick SB Dunk lace, as well as an alternate that will be given in a black colorway. Focusing on the tongue of the shoe, we have almost like a silk satin material with the Powerpuff Girls engraved in a monographic manner throughout the shoe, paralleling all the way through. The tongue on the shoe is definitely a distinct material from the outer paneling, toe guard, and so on and so forth. On the front tag of the shoe, we have a nice Nike SB typical logo, but it seems that they're using the Powerpuff Girls font for this SB logo. On the bottom of that logo, we have Blossom's name running through the bottom of it with yellow starring throughout the toe tag. Something I wanted to point out specifically for the tongue of the shoe was for the lace holder that we usually get on the front of all Nike SB Dunks. This one is a little bit different, and it's important because it's different from all the other three Powerpuff Girls. On this one, we have a red-orange heart. This is an important detail because Blossom uses that heart to hold her hair back when she's fighting off these criminals. Moving to the inner tongue of the shoe, if you focus on the tag, you can also see it's a nice orange color, just like Blossom's hair. It has the Everything Nice used to be created by Blossom cartoon icon on the inside of the tongue tag. Seems that Nike didn't use any secrets on the bottom of this tongue tag. Moving to the back of the shoe, we have the distinct characteristic of all these shoes, which is the beautiful stitching of the eyes of the superheroes on the back heels. On Blossom, they have the two eyes with the iris of the eyes in a pink color, which match Blossom's colorway. But if you notice on this one, Blossom is looking up and to the left. If you notice on the left back heel of the shoe, you're going to have a small black stitching to represent Blossom's mouth, almost smirking and smiling. The insoles. If you notice on the left and the right insole, we have the beautiful pink colors, but on the left insole, we have the Nike SB on the bottom of the heel tab with a bunch of the comic book combat noises that you're used to seeing in cartoons splattered throughout the insole of the shoe. On the right insole of the shoe, it has the Powerpuff Girls arch enemy, Mojo Jojo. On the bottom of the right insole, you notice that it has the Powerpuff Girls branding to go with the Nike SB Dunk on the left. Looking at the bottom insole of the Blossom shoe, we have on the zoom unit, Nike SB on both sides. Taking a closer look at it, it seems that Nike puts their little Easter eggs that they love to put on the bottom of these insoles. And in this case, it looks like they've added a detail known as Chemical X, which is what gave the superheroes their superpowers. Moving on to our second superhero, we're going to Buttercup, which is our green and black colorway. Like I mentioned, the actual silhouette and paneling of the shoe, as well as the colorway paneling, is pretty similar to all of these shoes, but I'm gonna point out some details that's different about Buttercup. Off first viewing of the shoe, you could see that the materials are definitely different. Almost like a smooth vinyl material running throughout the entirety of the shoe, Consistent green colorway. It's almost giving me like a patent leather, very difficult to say. The check is in the black colorway, the smooth leather black colorway. The midsole and the outer sole of the shoe are consistent with the materials used, but in this case, they're using black. And on the bottom, of course, we have the green from Buttercup coming through the outer sole. The tongue is very similar as far as material and that monographic Powerpuff Girls running parallel down the shoe. But in this case, you notice that the lace lock is just using a nice thin nylon material in a green color, but the toe tag is something that's different in Buttercup. Obviously, it's using the Nike SB logo that we talked about from the Blossom, but in this case, it has Buttercup on the bottom of it. It has the Spice cartoon appearance on the logo of the shoe used to make Buttercup. Flipping to the inside tongue of the shoe, we have the spices, the cartoon and the spices used to make Buttercup on the inside of it, along with some writing that Nike SB used on the inner tongue. Flipping the bottom of that inner tongue, there's no secret message on this colorway. For Buttercup, it's coming with the black lace already on there, and they're gonna give you one more alternate lace, the green, to match the color of the shoe. Going to the back heel, which I said was going to be distinct about this shoe, we look at the stitching of the eyes. Of course, it's that beautiful same stitching material that we saw on Blossom, but it's going to be with the iris of the shoe being in green, which is Buttercup's colorway. And if you notice on this one, Buttercup is actually looking up while Blossom was looking up and to the left. Again, we have the small black mouth on the left lower heel tab of the shoe, but in this case, Buttercup is giving us a frown appearance. Moving to the insole of the Buttercup colorway, if you could see, it seems to be very similar with those combat action noises spread through the entirety of both left and right insole, but in this case, the green is the dominant color. Mojo Jojo is also present on the right insole, but seems that he's fighting one of our Powerpuff Girls on this one. Still have very similar branding on the bottom of the left and right insole with Powerpuff Girls on the right and Nike SB on the left. Flipping to the zoom unit of our Buttercup insole, very similar, if not exactly the same as our Blossom with the Chemical X braking on the bottom of it and the Nike SB white lettering on that unit as well. Moving to our last and final superhero, we have the Bubbles colorway. The general appearance of the shoe is very similar in all three, but what makes it distinct is the materials and the colors used on the Bubbles colorway. Looking at the materials of the shoe, it seems that they're using a leather, almost like a cracked leather with a shiny gloss throughout the entirety of the shoe, but giving it's a very distinct material. I'm telling you, the materials used on these three shoes have been very unique, and it's only fitting that they use that for Bubbles. I'm gonna show you a hidden detail just in a few, so stay tuned. The Nike swoosh is in a beautiful yellow coloring using a nice smooth leather, the same material seen on all three colorways. The midsole of the shoe is the same in a black color, and then the outer sole is iced out with the beautiful midguard being in a yellow color and that blue of Bubbles coming through that white iced out sole. In the right lighting and right angle, you will notice on the outer paneling small areas glistening to represent the sugar used to make Bubbles. Moving to the tongue of the shoe, we have very similar silk appearance on the outer and inner tongue with the Powerpuff monographic writing throughout. The distinct difference, of course, is on the Nike SB tongue. The tongue logo again has the Nike SB logo with the Powerpuff font, but in this one, it has Bubbles in a black fine font on the bottom of the logo with the Bubbles sparkling speckled throughout the logo. Moving to the inner tongue logo, it's in a beautiful yellow color, but this one has a cartoon emblem on it for sugar, representing the ingredient used to make Bubbles. Flipping the bottom of our Nike SB tongue tab, we have no special encryption on this one. Your laces are going to be coming in that thick Nike SB style with black and yellow for Bubbles with possible other colorways. Now going to our back heel tabs, we have that distinct eye stitching that appears on all three colorways. Remember, Blossom was looking up and to the left, Buttercup was looking up, and Bubbles is looking down. Now, just like our other three eyes, we have our distinct colorway on the iris. In this case, for Bubbles, it's going to be in blue. Just like we have our small smirks on all three colorways, Bubbles is going to have it different on the right heel tab of the shoe with a small smiling smirk just in black on the bottom right corner. The insole for the Bubbles is going to be nothing really different as far as those combat noise lettering that we see on all three of the insoles. But of course, what is going to be different is Mojo Jojo. In this case, Mojo Jojo's giving us that dark grin that he gives right before he attacks our superheroes. Just like the other insoles, the labeling on the bottom left and the right are similar, with Nike SB on the left and Powerpuff Girls logo on the right. Flipping to the bottom of our Zoom unit, we have our similar lettering with Nike SB on both, with one of them being a broken jar with Chemical X being spilled out. Oh, and before I forget, I got one little surprise for you. The box. This is gonna come in your Nike SB tan box, which is our tan box era right now. So no surprises there. Wait till you guys see this packaging paper. Wow, how beautiful is that? It's got all our three superheroes on it with the Powerpuff Girls logo on the top left and the Nike SB logo on the top right, solidifying this beautiful collaboration. Nike SB has done it again. When they do collaborations, they do them right and they dive into the details. And no detail was left unturned with these Powerpuff Girls. Yes, they are superheroes. Yes, they have their distinct characteristics, but we do see some uniformity in each shoe with the 3M, with the Nike Trek, with the color blocking, but they do still have their individual characteristics. From what I've seen talking to people in the sneaker community, everybody has their favorite shoe. And I think that's what we're gonna see with this collaborative effort. One of us is going to have one favorite or the other. And I'm sure you guys are very similar to me in the regard that I loved collecting as a kid. So seeing these three shoes together makes you want to get each one. Not only is it a fashion statement to wear one of these shoes, but it's also giving us that vibe of, man, I want to collect all three of the Powerpuff Girls and display them in my sneaker room. The fact that Nike SB went to our childhood, getting that nostalgia that we all love with the Cartoon Network, waking up on Saturday mornings and watching these cartoon characters, and they're using it to make this special shoe. Now, I've given you all the positive of these shoes, right? I'm not biased to this, nor am I getting paid by Cartoon Network to say it, so I'm gonna give you guys the real deal. These colors are distinct and they're fun and they're nice to look at. It's gonna be a little bit difficult to match. I'll tell you what, I went to a sneaker show and I wanted to put on the Bubbles and I had a little difficulty putting on this shoe just to be able to match it with some of my wardrobe. So that's one con that I see with these shoes. The colorways might be a little bit difficult, with green and blue being the easier ones to put on. The difference in the materials of the shoes are going to be unique, especially with the Blossom. Because of that stiff leather, that nubuck, that material that we can't even say what it is, it's going to make it a difficult shoe to wear. It may not be the most comfortable SB. And something that we do know about Nike SBs, the comfortability of the shoe, it's not well for wearing all day long. And for someone like me who's taking care of patients over 10 hours a day, wearing a Nike SB Dunk may be a little bit difficult. Without a doubt, this will be one of the most anticipated releases of the 2023 season. So, taking all the pros and cons of this beautiful collaborative and collective effort, I'm going to give our Nike SB Dunk Low Powerpuff Girls collab 4 out of 5 hearts. All right, my favorite part, I get to actually try these shoes on. Now, normally in a Nike SB, I'm a size 9. I don't have to size up or down, but because of the difference in the material of these shoes, I have a feeling we might have to make some changes. Let's find out. Okay, here we go. We're gonna start with Blossom. Now remember, this is a stiffer leather material when we talked about the shoe. We'll see how this one goes. Looks a little tight in the toe box. Fits pretty good going on, not too tight anywhere else. Also smooth fit. Laces feel good. The silk inner sock lining actually makes it comfortable to slide on, so not too bad. I'd have to say that the Blossom, even though the material was a little bit concerning, true to size. Let's take a closer look. Let's move on to bubbles. This is a size 9. All the shoes are a size 9, so should be no changes as far as how it fits on foot. So far, so good. I like to lace my SB through the lace lock and into the first top lace. That's just my style. I know a lot of people wear it without, especially skateboarders. They want the tongue a little more exposed. I feel like this gives me a little bit of control tightness and gives you that exposure of the tongue. That's why I like using that first lace hole right there. Okay, last but not least, let's get to Buttercup. Actually, this one fits a little bit bigger than the other ones. Now I'm wondering if there's a little bit of a stiffness of the material of the other two, of the Blossom and the Bubbles, because the Buttercup is probably the biggest fitting, or the most forgiving of all the materials. Let's take a closer look. So there you have it. We have the Nike SB Dunk Low Powerpuff Girls in its entirety. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and make sure you guys like and subscribe and hit that alert and notification button, because we got more early pairs on the way. In fact, what do you guys want to see next? Why don't you jump in the comments and let me know what shoe you want me to review, and I'll bring it to you guys here exclusively from my sneaker room on ShoeGameMD. I appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you guys come back. We'll see you again on ShoeGameMD.